bags are not allowed to be used if it's not from a type that is degradable, easy degradable. And you cannot print anything on the bag, like the shop name or anything, if it's not on that type. And municipality is giving fines if people are not complying with this regulation. So there are a lot of initiatives that people can start taking, easy initiatives. If it came from people like accountants, like financial professionals like you, towards their organization, I would think that this is, will be very well accepted. When I see such initiatives in places and organizations, first I think it's applied by the marketing department because it's more towards the vision of the organization, but I'm seeing it more suitable to come from the finance department. Changing the operations, how the organization is operating. We are seeing every day new banks are coming and saying we are going to send new electronic statements by email instead of mailing the paper statement. That's an efficiency. This is saving the bank a lot of money. I would see every organization when they deal with their suppliers, that's a very easy way of implementing such tool, of sending the statements by email instead of paper one. And we are seeing now the next step is that they are charging for the paper statements. If you are willing to take the paper statements, we'll charge you for. So that's the direction we are going towards. We have as well the printers. I don't know why till now I see some organizations still setting the printer to print on only one side. This is something that everyone can do. Even if your organization is not doing it, you can change your settings whenever you are printing into the double-sided printing. That is saving the environment. Recycling the paper. I remember when I took this initiative like 3 years back in my organization, and I found that we were consuming a lot of paper, and I said, you know, we're going to deal with a company. It's not going to charge us any money. They are going to put pins for paper, plastic, and metals, and they are going to collect it every day. And we ask every associate to help by throwing the papers in these pins. And we found the people are very interested, and they are bringing things from home to throw it in those pins because they feel that they are contributing towards the environment. That's something that's easy to do. It doesn't cost any money, and it helps, again, as I mentioned, into different aspects. The morals of the employees are going to be better. The approach. This is, I can give an example of organizations where they change their approach of doing their products. P&G, when they found that there is a lot of interest in the environmental concepts and how to preserve the environmental resources, they started to see how we can contribute to this. They know that their clients are having a big interest on that. So they changed their Ariel product to the Ariel gel. So their detergent is now a new product which consumes less water by 50% than what it used to be. It consumes 40% less energy than what it used to be to produce it. It consumes around 35% less energy to wash because it doesn't require hot water. It can wash on cold water. And they changed the packaging of the product so that it uses around 25% less packaging, and it uses around 30% less transportation of trucks for their products. It's a very good way of changing how the process of coming with our product is changing to have less energy, less water, and definitely as a story when they put this to the clients, definitely it's going to help in marketing their products. And this is not just to be applied back to the message to the accountants and financial professionals. This is, you don't have to put such type of big ideas. I think that needs like the whole organization or maybe the R&D department to help in coming with this. But look into the processes you are doing in your department. What can you change within your organization, within your department, within your office that would help in such type of initiatives? So how to take this forward? Next step, what every one of us should do tomorrow or maybe tonight? One of the things is to start talking to people, and I would say mainly the management. Your immediate manager, if there's anybody that you can go on a higher level, that would be great. Such type of initiatives, if you understand the benefits of it, and again, I'm saying the benefit is not just for the environment, there are much more than that, then definitely I think you would get a change happening very soon. Communicate with other people, other associates, people who are your colleagues in the office, your family members, your friends. Spread the word. You know, this is not something to keep for yourself. This is something you have to help everybody into spreading it. We have to change the way we behave. Create an environment of sustainable innovation. That's a very important thing. The ideas that we were hearing throughout the couple of days, Mr. Khatri mentioned really brilliant ideas. You know, such innovative ideas will not come if everyone is keeping it for themselves. I'm sure a lot of such good ideas are coming from the people who are working physically with the things. Management will not come with all the ideas. So we need to create an environment where the innovation is a sustainable product there. I mean, encourage the people to come up with their ideas. One of the organizations I worked with, the management came and said, we're doing a competition for innovative ideas. Anybody has an idea, at that time it was to save money, so they were looking for saving money without affecting the quality, which I would say still is a contribution towards the efficiency and sustainability. They said, anybody gonna give idea, we're gonna give them 15% of the savings that will come out of this idea. Everybody wanted to come up with a brilliant idea that saves a lot of money so that they can take the 15% of it. It was kind of a war of ideas at that time. Everyone was brainstorming what type of idea I can throw down to the organization. Another organization came up with an idea for projects for Six Sigma. They found some inefficiencies, and they said, we're going to promote some projects for Six Sigmas. We need good projects that are going to improve our operation, that are going to make us more efficient. And we need such good ideas. And they started to get people come up with innovative ideas on things that needs improvement, things that should be done in a better way. And you know, the management, to encourage that, give a good prize for everyone send an idea. Regardless whether it's applicable or not, whether it can be done or not, everyone contributed with an idea, got a reward. And that by itself started to create the environment in this organization that everyone should come up with an innovative idea from every now and then. And most important, be an example. Walk the talk. It's again mentioned like probably the third or fourth time this day. It's very important, whatever you are trying to achieve, be an example for your friends, for your associates, for your family. Start to apply such concepts for yourself at your home so that we can spread this, we can change the behavior in the environment. I have been short and hopefully within the time. Thanks for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Karim, for excellent presentation. You rightly said that the role of accountant is not to do the debit credits only, but their role is to facilitate the management and decision-making function. For the professional sitting here from Colombo, I would like, for their benefit, to tell them that there is a detailed discussions available on the YouTube and also on the website of ICAP. There was a conference held on 11th March 2010 on the role of CFO. And interesting thing which I want to share with you, that there was a study conducted in 2000 about the role of CFOs in future. And one of the participants said in that study that he, in his wisdom, that the nomenclature of CFO will change to CPO, Chief Planning Officer, because he felt that no one is doing accounting now. They are more on the strategy side. Right, now the next speaker will talk on the importance of environmental management accounting is Mr. A.D. Nawan. He is the Senior Lecturer of University of Jayawardhanapura. By profession, he is an MBA, BSc, and SAFA-CMA from Sri Lanka and UK. Currently, he is engaged in the research in environmental and sustainability management accounting. Mr. Novan.
Okay, good afternoon, members of the head table and the audience. I remember one speaker saying that speaking before the lunch break is a challenge, and I think speaking after the lunch break is even a challenge. And being the last speaker in that session is even a greater challenge. So taking that challenge, let me present you this concept or the approach called environmental management accounting. And before I present my presentation, let me take you down the path of memory till 2004 December, to be exact, December 26th. And this is the day we had a tsunami which devastated most of the coastal line of Indian Ocean countries, taking thousands of lives. Also in 2011 we had tsunami in Japan, and the other part of the world, in US, we had Hurricane Katrina, then again Hurricane Andrews. All these things are natural disasters. On the other hand, there were a series of man-made disasters or industrial accidents, I would say, starting from Love Canal in 1920, then Chernobyl in Russia, then again Exxon Valdez oil spill, then latest being the BP oil spill. Now all these incidents affect or shape any profession. An accounting profession is not an exception. Therefore, today I'm going to present you how all these environmental issues or the concerns are shaping a growing body of practices called environmental management accounting. So this is my presentation outline. Initially, I'll be discussing about the rise and the revival of environmental management accounting. Then we'll try to look for some definitions to understand what this is exactly. And thereafter, I'll present you some of the techniques and benefits you can derive, and also some of the reporting aspects of environmental management accounting, and also my findings of a research study which I carried out on the hotel sector in 2011. I'm moving to the first point. As I said, there is increased public awareness about these environmental issues. Maybe the industrial accidents, the pollution, the climate change or the global warming, the nuclear waste, deforestation or desertification, and because of all these things, corporations have to be environmentally prudent. And if I look at the little bit of the historical development of this environmental movement, 1970, the decade marks a golden period. In 1970, we had, maybe fueled by the book Silent Spring, which was published in 1962. And then 1970, we had that massive Earth Day Summit. And 1971, Greenpeace, the organization, was established. Then again in 1970, EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in US, was established. Then in 1981 in Sri Lanka, the Central Environmental Authority was established. And because of all these reasons, management had to acknowledge the power of the environment. Not only that, there are certain conceptual or the practical developments like corporate social responsibility, triple bottom line, sustainability business, and also availability of so many reporting frameworks, ISO 14,000, 26,000, then SA 8,000, AA 1000, and also proliferation of many organizations and the forums and initiatives. When Rio 20 Plus Summit is just over, we are having another conference on sustainability. So many organizations, forums, and conferences. Now, because of all these things, because of all these reasons, there is a growing body of practices known as environmental management accounting. So let's try to understand what this is. Well, there is no formal definition for environmental management accounting, because no organization takes the responsibility of these practices. So its boundaries are loose and still being developed. However, we all agree that it's an application, an extension of environmental accounting, that is accounting for the environmental considerations. And if you may look at this table, you can see that environmental accounting can take place at the national level or even at the firm level. When environmental accounting takes place at the firm level, and when your audience is internal, it's called as environmental management accounting. And also if you look at another definition given by the US expert group, It says the identification, collection, and the analysis and the use of physical information as well as monetary information. And this is the interesting thing about environmental management accounting. This shouldn't be given in financial values, but this could even take place with physical values such as kilograms, liters, then even quantities. And there came a period that a lot of organizations, scholars started to define and giving concepts of environmental management accounting. Then, in a push towards standardization of these concepts, IFAC issued a guidance document in 2005, which is IFAC International Guidance Document on EMA, which is freely available in the web. Well, with that, let me move on to my next area, the techniques or the tools of environmental management accounting. And there are many: accounting for energy and materials and even water, then EIA, environmental impact assessment, flow accounting, this is called as input-output balance used in clean production, life cycle costing, life cycle design, activity-based costing, and the sustainable balance scorecard. Because of the time limitations, I will not go into details of these techniques, but present you some of the key techniques. Now, most of the time, the overhead costs that are incurred or environmental costs that are incurred are hidden in the general overheads. If you look at this simple diagram, this illustrates how this could happen. The toxic waste generated for product B could be allocated or simply considered as a general overhead. And it could be allocated to product A and B, overstating the cost of product A and understating the cost of product B. This is where activity-based costing could be used and have the proper cost allocation for product B, because ABC analyzes or identifies cost drivers and causes of cost and gives the correct cost. Also, another technique or a tool which can be used in environmental management accounting is the sustainability balance scorecard. We all know, even in Sri Lanka, balance scorecard is heavily used as a management or performance management tool. So in this regard, environmental factor could be considered as another perspective in the traditional balance scorecard, or it could be incorporated into the traditional perspectives of the balance scorecard. So there are different ways in which you can incorporate or consider the environmental factor in your existing performance tools. So following these techniques, there are benefits you can derive. Now, from the discussion I made, we need to understand that EMA is not just a tool. It's a broad set of principles and approaches that would support your so many other environmental management tools. Therefore, these are the benefits you can derive, which are broadly divided into three: compliance, eco-efficiency, and the strategic position. The compliance is where you support the environmental protection by complying with your self-imposed policies or the regulations. And also, EMA would support eco-efficiency by reducing the use of energy, the use of water, and the use of material by being eco-friendly or eco-efficient. And also, EMA could support your long-term strategic position. And I should say that these broad benefits are clearly overlapping, and it's very difficult to identify a clear demarcation. Now, for you to get these benefits, it's not an easy task. So there are certain challenges. Now, the main challenge is the inadequate development of the communication channels between the accounting department and the other departments. Because when it comes to environmental data, most of these data are collected not by the accounting department, but by the other departments, so that the inadequate or the insufficient communication acts as a hindrance in this regard. And also, as I explained earlier, most of these environmental costs could be hidden somewhere else, and those will not be brought to the attention of the management. And also, there is inadequate collection of environmental related costs. And finally, most of the decisions, especially the investment decisions in particular, are based on incomplete information. They have not totally recognized or fully recognized the environmental impacts that could be created. So with that, let me move to my last point. So before that, there are certain reporting aspects of environmental management accounting. I'm sure that much has been discussed and deliberated on this. GRI, then again ISO 14000, ISO 26000, and ISO 26000 is not a certification standard. We can't say that we are ISO 26000 certified, but it's just a guidance. So with that, let me move to the last part of my presentation. This is one of the research which I carried out in 2011 on the listed hotel sector in Sri Lanka. So despite the low level of awareness of environmental management accounting, I identified that there is a high extent of use among the listed hotels in Sri Lanka. And the widespread application was the accounting for material and accounting for energy. Some organizations account for different types of energy, diesel, then electricity, then furnace oil and gas. And sometimes they even go to the calculation of energy cost per guest and do the appropriate comparisons. Not only that, there were some other applications as well. A use of alternative sources of energy, then life cycle design. And if you look at this is a restaurant where you don't find air conditioned machines installed, no fans as well. So throughout the life of the project or throughout the life of the site, you save millions of cost in terms of energy. And also environmental friendly design. This entire hotel is built on pillars so that it will not disrupt the water flow or the animal flow. And these practices, these so-called practices have been shaped by or driven by many factors such as favorable public image, the regulatory requirements, ISO 26000 specifications, and also pressure from the group you get. And also I noted that most of these practices are applied or shaped by the engineers. And this is not a new phenomenon, and this is how even cost accounting was developed in the early part of 18th century. However, now despite this high level of use, I noted that this does not portray a comprehensive or an integrated approach to environmental management accounting, because these practices are mere responses for internal and external forces, and therefore the sustenance or a period of time cannot be guaranteed. For example, when the energy prices go up, the intensity of accounting for energy would improve. But when the energy prices come down or when you have other priorities, the intensity of accounting would diminish. Therefore, it suggests that long-term sustenance of environmental management accounting goes beyond mere application or the superiority or the sophistication or the complexity of the technique we are using, and it requires a holistic approach. And this holistic approach should have comprehensive coverage, not one or two items, but comprehensive coverage. And also there should be stakeholder engagement on a day-to-day basis. Your suppliers, your customers, your employees, and the community should be engaged. And finally, this has to be driven by a clear strategy. Well, with that, I have come to the end of my presentation. And let me conclude by saying that environmental management accounting is an opportunity where the management accounting professionals can display your contribution towards the environmental agenda. And also, EMA would enable us to make a difference to the world we are living in. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Novan. We have a few questions from Mr. Hanif Ajariwala. And luckily, this question pertains to the SAFA chairman, I think. Please specify if EMA should be taken as a challenge by SAFA for designing standard framework. Won't you think a research paper should be invited and presented in next meeting? I think our chairman will answer this. Yes.
I think this is a very good suggestion, and we have noted this. Hopefully, in the next board meeting, we will set up a task force on this. Thank you.
The next question is to Ms. Bajpal. Next generation ERP, how nicely it integrates with SAP. How about module working for MRP, CRP, APO, and integrated sale forecasting?
Right. Right. So basically, as I was mentioning, that the tool seamlessly integrates with SAP. So you can have, if you want a manual interface, if you want an Excel upload and download, that's possible. If you want seamless connectivity, so IT connectors can be made, and it takes not only information from SAP, but any ERP that you have. So it basically has the capability of integrating with different IT systems you're already using, be it a bank, if you use FinCon, VBMS, and things like that. So whatever system is existing, and also it can do integration with real-time sensors. So if you have a SCADA installed somewhere, you can do, capture data from that. If you have a building management system in place, so it can, collect data from that. So if you even don't want, the electricity data to be fed in, it can, take real-time data from all these instruments which are there. Thank you.
The next question pertains to Mr. Raj Kumar. Would you please?
Yeah. The question is, if the board of directors misuse their position, what are the best steps available to a director? Especially the question is about an independent director. Can independent director blow the whistle, or the independent directors should resign, or the report to the stock exchange or central bank? I personally feel the right to blow whistle is not a fundamental right. One cannot blow a whistle unless there is a whistleblower policy. That is one of the ingredients in the corporate governance framework. Because without that policy, if a person blows the whistle, the action can be taken against the person. The resigning from the company is also not a solution. I feel the best course of action available to a director is to put those facts in writing and get those facts minuted in the minutes of the organization. And then in due course, other stakeholders will take a cognizance of it. But resigning from the board is also not a solution. In fact, it is a cowardship to resign from the board when somebody sees that there is a fraud or mischief played by the board, even if they are in majority. Because in fact, I think that is the responsibility of the director, that one director who feels that the stakeholders' rights are not given, he should stay in the organization and see that the wrong is corrected.
Thank you. Now, one question is with Mr. Karim.
As to Ms. Bashbal, I wonder if there is a way that the implementation cost can be, instead of being a certain cash amount, to be collected from the savings that will be coming out of the efficiency that will be derived. I think that would improve a lot the acceptance of implementing such ERPs. Is this a possibility that we can see sometime?
Ms. Bajpayee.
Definitely, that's very much possible, because when you, get into sustainability initiatives, you basically try and optimize resource, right? So that way you do a lot of savings, and then gradually you can, go into the RB system module by module and,
The question says that how we can convert the environmental factors into financial values. Yes, environmental factors would be initially difficult to quantify, but you can look at the impact on your organization, and there has to be some sort of deliberations and some consensus has to be finally arrived at as to how we can quantify. But basically, we won't be able to be 100% accurate in these quantifications, but still, over the years, the systems and the things evolve and improve, we would be able to have a better quantification, like carbon footprint.
There are a few more questions, but due to constraint of time, we will not take these questions. You can ask later on to the speakers directly during tea breaks. With this, I thank you all patiently listening and attending this afternoon session. And I also especially thank all the 4 speakers for presenting a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
To hand over the token of appreciations, now I invite Mr. Mohammed Rafi, President, South Asian Federation of Accountants, to hand over the token of appreciations for our session speakers. Mr. Abdul Rahim Surya. Mr. C.A. Rajkumar Adukia. Ms. Richa Bajpai. Mr. Abd Elhay Karim. Mr. Nuwan Gunaratnam. Thank you, Mr. Rafi.